You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Are you recording?
We are recording.
Okay.
Okay.
On your mark. Get set. Go. And I made him watch.
Intermissions.
Hello
And welcome.
to this week's episode of Intermissions. I'm your co-host Troy, and I'm being joined by the amazingly talented Dani Page.
Hey, that's me.
Yeah, how's it going, sweetie?
Oh, man. What a week.
Yeah.
What a week.
Yep. Got a lot of things coming up
Yep.
here shortly.
Yep. Going to be busy this next weekend.
Yep. When this episode comes out, the following Saturday, we're going to Monsterpalooza in Pasadena, California. Gonna get to meet the amazingly talented David Howard Thornton.
Yep. I'm going to meet David.
In costume as Art the Clown.
Yeah, I'm going to have a photo op with Art.
Yep.
Excited for that.
Dude, I'm so excited.
I'm excited for something to do. We've been pretty kind of low key lately these last few weeks.
Yeah.
Ever since the Oddities Festival, which was kind of a bust.
That was kind of lackluster.
Yep.
Before that, we went down to Burbank and did the Mystic Museum and all that stuff, and that was so fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Super fun. So we're kind of overdue for something to do.
Yep, for an LA trip.
Yes. So on this week's episode, we're going to be talking about the TV shows that we're currently watching and what we like about them, what we don't, and how they compare to some of the horror films and TV that we love to watch. So why don't you start us off? What are you watching right now?
So we've been working through Shameless together.
Yeah.
And we're on season 2 still.
Right.
Yep. I'm also watching the second season of Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire. I am a huge Anne Rice fan. I am working my way through the Vampire Chronicles. I only have, I think, 2 books left in the series. And the show, how they have conducted it, and the atmosphere and the world they're creating through Anne Rice's work is very amazing. I love it so far. It's a very good show. I think you would like it. And then also, let's see, what else? I've got you trying to watch Jujutsu Kaisen, which is a really good anime. It's so good. And then I'm also watching, let's see, I'm watching Apothecary Diaries, which is another anime. So yeah.
If you couldn't tell, some of us really like anime.
I do. I am not like, I wouldn't say in any way just a weeb, because there are some people who will just watch anime because it's anime.
Right.
I watch anime because it's actually good. Like there's some anime out there that's popular. I'm like, I just can't get into it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind anime. It's just, it has to have substance.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I don't know. I got pretty far in Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, but then we wanted to watch the movie because the movie is in between the 2 halves of the season.
Right.
And for some reason you can't find the movie anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we kind of like fell off that. But Cowboy Bebop is one of the best animes of all time, honestly.
To my knowledge, there's only 2 animes that I've finished, like from start to finish watched, and that's Trigun and Death Note. I loved Death Note.
Yes.
It was such a good show, and then seeing what Netflix did with it destroyed me. Like,
It was
so disheartening.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you never finished Cowboy Bebop, because you would have had to have watched the live action Netflix Cowboy
yeah.
Bebop, because that was so upsetting. That was just heartbreaking. I will never trust Netflix to do another anime,
To be honest,
live action ever again.
Yeah, I completely forgot about it, to be honest with you.
It was so bad.
Yeah.
It was so bad. It was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Netflix can't do live action. I'll
No.
never. I don't care. I'll never watch another live action from Netflix.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Have they ever pulled off a live action?
Mm, I'm trying to think of any like live action recently. Because I tried to watch the Airbender. I watched one episode of the Airbender live action, and that was not it either. That was so bad too.
Mm-hmm.
So bad. So no, they haven't really accomplished the equation for that.
Yeah.
You know.
So let's go back to Shameless. So
Yes.
obviously, if you've never seen Shameless, it's about the Gallagher family
Mm-hmm.
and their trials and tribulations living in the south side of Chicago.
Yes.
You know, and the whole like social commentary that goes along with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so how does that compare to films like Terrifier?
Mm,
If you think about it,
dysfunction.
yeah, there's a lot of dysfunction.
Yeah.
There are, you know, for lack of a better term, people trying to survive, you know, and obviously there's different contexts between the two shows, but, you know, you do have people that are living their lives, you know, their ordinary lives, if you will, and then they're kind of thrown into these situations that they have to survive in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if you think about it, Terrifier is a social commentary for, you know, it's kind of like the same thing with like Candyman, for example. Like Candyman, at least the original Candyman, I haven't seen the remake,
Yeah.
but there was this huge social commentary about, you know, Cabrini Green and people living in poverty and all this sort of things, and being, you know, having this like sort of boogeyman to be afraid of, you know. So I can definitely see how Shameless kind of, you know, compares to horror films that we've seen.
Well, it's a different type of horror if you really think about it. It's the horror of, you know, poor and poverty and the drama that comes along with that. But also there is a sense of community and connection with the people who are also suffering and going through the same kind of situations you are when you're in that type of community and situation.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think if I was to look at Shameless and say that there's any like clear cut antagonist, it'd probably be Frank.
Yeah.
Frank Gallagher is the most terrible character in that show, and he's for the most part responsible for the majority of their shortcomings and stuff and misery. Yes,
misery.
So a lot of their struggles and stuff are simply them trying to survive the wrath of Frank Gallagher.
Mm-hmm.
So
and they allow him to stick around.
Yeah.
It's sometimes it's hard to watch from a logical aspect of it, of how, you know, you would want to better yourself and your responsibilities, your families, and you just allow this constant threat of destruction kind of lingering, you know. So it's frustrating to watch that.
Yeah,
I would have left his ass in Canada.
Should have left his ass in Canada. Yep.
Steve was right.
So another show that you touched on was Anne Rice's Interview with a Vampire, right? So obviously that show in and of itself has a horror element embedded in it.
Yes, it is. It's their gothic horror novels.
Yeah. So obviously it would not be a stretch to compare that to any other horror film or TV show that we've seen in the past.
Right.
So when I think of vampires, I typically think of like, Dracula, or Nosferatu, So you've seen Dracula with Gary Oldman, right?
Yes.
How would you say that show compares to that film?
There are a lot of similarities when it comes to that type of romantic vampire versus the Anne Rice romantic vampire, because it's a romance. There's stories about the endearments of living an immoral life and still having this normal day-to-day life, and then you have those moments in life where everything goes wrong. There's a lot of drama and stuff. And versus the constant drama of Dracula is pretty intense. The Anne Rice writes these characters in a way that you fall in love with them and you want to root for them. And then she creates this tragic event that has everything crumbling. And versus Dracula, where it's constant, like, okay, we're here at the castle and we're discovering all this stuff, and there's all this drama. There's wolves, there's the brides, there's Dracula, like, licking blood off of a blade. So it's a constant thing of drama, and it doesn't stop throughout the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
So it's comparable in a way that it's romantic and there's love, and you feel kind of bad for the characters. Like, you feel kind of bad for Dracula because he lost the love of his life and sees her reincarnated in
That's Winona Ryder.
It is Winona Ryder. It's I was trying to think of the character's name, of Winona Ryder's character's name. Is it Mary?
I'm not sure.
I know Sally, I think. Is it Sally?
To be perfectly honest, I've never seen it.
You've never seen Dracula?
No. I have a superpower where I know enough about movies where I could pass as having been seen them.
Don't blame your autism.
Autism is a superpower.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Well, we have to watch Dracula now.
Yes.
I can't believe you've never seen Dracula.
Well, you heard it here first.
Wow. Okay, but they're both very good. They're similar in ways, but they're very different stories. Definitely.
Mm-hmm. Is there a Van Helsing in Dracula?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Because I know that you have a Van Helsing story, but then you also have a Dracula story, but they're part of each other's story.
It's got what's the old guy's name? The actor.
Anthony Hopkins.
Yes,
right?
Anthony Hopkins
yes.
is Van Helsing. Yes.
Yeah. It also has Keanu Reeves.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
In it as well, which I just know. I've never seen it.
Yeah, we have to watch Dracula now. It's pretty good. You've seen Queen of the Dam?
I want to say I've seen Queen of the Dam.
Okay, that movie, nothing like the book, really.
Okay.
Absolutely nothing like the book.
Because in that film, who is it? Peter or Stuart Townsend or something like that. He plays Lestat.
Yeah, it's as a standalone. Like, if someone wrote a fan fiction, which Anne Rice hated fan fiction. If someone wrote a fan fiction and that was based off of the fan fiction, that is that movie. It's a fan fiction movie,
mm-hmm.
honestly.
Yeah.
It's the book was something else. Anne Rice, her novels, her books, her universe that she's created with the Vampire Chronicles and The Way for Witches is a standalone universe and world of its own. And it's beautiful. But you've seen Interview with the Vampire, right?
The film?
Yes.
No.
Oh, Troy, this is why we have this podcast. You are a filmmaker and you have not seen any movies.
Look, this just goes to show that even though you're a filmmaker and you've gone to school for making films and all that stuff, that does not mean that you've seen every film ever
True.
made.
But
Okay.
there are some films that I expect you have seen because these are the movies I watched in my childhood.
Okay.
But also explains about a lot of like how I am who I am.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that. But there's also a lot of movies I've seen that you haven't seen.
True, but they're mostly like war movies and boring historical stuff.
You ever seen any like Buster Keaton stuff?
Name one. I'm bad with names.
The Cameraman.
No.
Okay. Have you ever seen? You've seen Nosferatu,
Mm-hmm.
right? Have you ever seen? I'm trying to think. I'm drawing blanks. Anyways, we're going off on a tangent.
Yep.
So, obviously, the show Interview with a Vampire. How does that compare to the film?
The show compared to the film?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the first movie. So in the first movie, the film, it follows the time period a little more close to the book. There definitely is a diluted, kind of romantic relationship between Lestat and Louis in the first film, between Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt, which they both did amazing work, I feel, as the vampires. I haven't watched the movie in so long, but I know it scene from scene. It's really, it was good. It was well done. I prefer the book. The book obviously has a lot more detail. There's a lot more backstory to Lestat in it, and also Interview with the Vampire is written in this the perspective of Louis.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is Louis's version of everything. Later on, Lestat, in a different book, reveals his version of everything that what happened and why he did things. So it's a lot of he said versus he said kind of thing.
Right.
I prefer the books. Honestly, I think once I'm done with the last two books, I'm probably going to restart the series over again. It's such a good, it's just really good. It's a really good series. We could have episodes of Intermissions where I like can go into detail of how much Anne Rice, like the Vampire Chronicles, like mean to me, and everything that is about it, and also the Wayfair Witches and stuff, because honestly I think I might prefer the Wayfair Witches storyline to more than the vampire, but they're both really great. It's a great world. Anne Rice inspired me a lot to do my own writing. Hi, this is Dani from the future who's editing this episode. I would like to point out that I misspoke. I know that it is Mayfair Witches and not Wayfair Witches. I was just really excited to talk about it. And I'm sorry. That's all.
Okay. Well, I mean, obviously it's good to have something that you can connect with. You know, even like in your case, you're trying to create your own stories and stuff. So
Yeah.
taking influence from something is, you know, a pretty natural thing.
Influence in the way that I like how she tells the stories through like memories. I like that part. But like inspiration for like characters and stuff, not so much. I find the way she builds the world and how their everyday the peaceful moments are, and they're very human, is how she wrote them. It's very human moments. I like those moments inspire me the most. And then you have those great dramatic moments that carry the story, and they're great too, but it's the humanity that inspires me, the character's humanity.
Yeah. Which I feel like not just from writing novels, but like writing screenplays and stuff, trying to add that human aspect to it is so difficult because you're trying to write this story from your character's perspectives and stuff. But the only way you're able to put in that human aspect is taking that from yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because you as a human, you are the best source of knowledge for you on that subject. So adding your own human experiences and stuff into these stories, and in reality, like, that's really the best way to get people to connect with your stories, because if you write perfect characters, it's going to be so boring. It's so boring. There's no drama, there's no tragedy. That is what makes us
Our
connect.
flaws, our flaws that we have are what make us human. It's what makes us interesting. Because, like you said, if everything was perfect, there would be nothing to write about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I get that. We could definitely do a whole like episode about like writing and stuff too. Honestly.
Yep. So what other shows did you say you watched?
I'm watching Apothecary Diaries, which is an anime.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
It's pretty cute. It's based in I don't know which dynasty it is, but it's like Chinese, about this girl who is kidnapped and then sold into servitude to the back castle where all the consorts of the emperor live and stuff. And she was the apprentice to her adoptive father, who was a doctor turned apothecary. So she's into all kinds of like herbal remedies and poisons and stuff. Like, she is a little obsessed, and her knowledge of such things lead her to be a really important person to the palace and the people around her. And there's also a romantic vibe and some secrecy going on and stuff. But it's super cute.
That kind of reminds me of this. I wouldn't say it was like a horror film, but it was a drama. I think it was Korean. I think it was The Handmaiden or something like that.
Yeah, The Handmaiden.
Yeah, that kind
We
of reminds
watched.
me of that.
Yeah, that was what was his name? Jungkook.
Park.
Park
Park Chan Wook.
Wook.
Yes.
Yes.
He's the he directed Old Boy.
Yep.
Thirst.
Thirst was
really
Thirst
good.
was good. There's another vampire movie we could talk about. We could do an episode about only vampire movies. Oh my god, we're gonna do that.
Yeah. If you want to talk foreign films, go Korean. Koreans make such good movies.
Yeah.
You know, even like there was a movie that that Wook made called Joint Security Area, and even though the title sounds pretty boring, it was a really good fucking movie.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, but that one was really good because there's a lot of drama, and there's tragedy involved as well. So it was a really good film.
Yeah.
So, how would you say Apothecary Diaries compares to anything horror related you've seen?
I really can't say there's anything like horror wise in that.
Yeah.
There are intense moments. But other than that, like there it's a little bit of a mystery and a thriller going on in the background, but it doesn't really compare. Yeah.
Okay.
You can't really say anything on that.
All right. Well,
What have you been watching?
So the only show that I've been watching recently and I kind of fell off of and I need to get back into it was Fallout.
Oh yeah, how was that? I haven't.
Well, so even if you've never played any of the Fallout games, this show was written in a way that anybody can get into it and enjoy the story. There's a lot of drama. There's a little bit of comedy, comedic relief more like. You know, it's starring, you know, Walton Goggins. He's the ghoul. He was a big Hollywood star pre-war, and then after the bombs went off, he got turned into a ghoul. Um, it's also starring Ella Purnell. She's the vault dweller. I forgot what her name was already, but I don't remember the actor's name. But he goes off and he becomes a scribe for a knight of the Brotherhood of Steel, who they wear, you know, power armor and stuff. And he goes off and becomes a scribe, and then they get in a fight with a radiated bear called a Yaogwai. And it is so fucking funny because the guy in the power armor, who unfortunately, and we're not huge fans of, is played by Michael Rappaport. Terrible fucking person. If you're not connected, I know you're not good with names.
Yeah, I'm not good with names.
Terrible fucking person. Anyways, but he sees this bear and he's in this power armor, this hulking suit of armor, and he turns tail and runs away. He's just screaming "fuck, fuck, fuck, fuck" the whole time, and it's super fucking funny to me. So, anyways, but in this show there is a lot of like mystery and drama. There's like trying to compare it to, say, a horror film.
Yeah, I can't really do that, huh?
Not really. I mean, I'm sure you can like draw connections, sorta, kinda, but like, you know, you got, there was a guy being chased by, the ghoul, and he winds up dying and stuff. Anyways, the show's really good though. I think it's pretty good. I need to finish it though.
Yeah, you probably should finish it.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything about it in a while. When it first premiered, I was hearing stuff on like TikTok and like X and Twitter or whatever you want to call it. So
Yeah.
I haven't really heard anything since.
I, as far as like shows coming up, I have heard rumblings that there is a Halloween TV series
Yes.
in the works. And if you've been listening to this podcast, you probably know that Halloween, the OG, probably my favorite horror film of all time. So I'm super excited, but also terrified to see how they, you know, incorporate the Halloween story into a weekly sort of format, you know. So I'm a huge fan of TV shows though, because whereas you sit down in a movie theater, you watch a movie, you may be there for 2.5 hours at most. You know, for most films, 3 hours if they're super long. But if you sit down and you watch like a 6-7 episode season, and they're hour episodes, that is a 7-hour movie that you just watched.
Yeah.
And you're able, as a storyteller, you're able to tell so much more of that story without having to jam pack it into, you know, a feature film. So
that's another reason I'm really loving the Interview with the Vampire, because they're not packing the contents of one very detailed and long novel into one like hour and a half, 2 hour movie. Because originally, when I was watching the behind the scenes from this past like episode or two, originally they were gonna try to put season 1 into one, or the first book into only one season, into season 1. And I'm really glad that they're breaking it up, because we get more detail and we get more time with the characters and to really form an attachment to them and stuff.
Right.
And they're doing a really great job.
That also can be said about like The Last of Us. The first season of The Last of Us was such a good fucking show, and having played the games, like, I don't feel like they were trying to cram too much into each episode. I do like the I guess the creative licensing they took as far as like changing some of the stories, but namely the parts with like Bill and Frank and stuff.
Getting more details into that story was amazing.
Well, it wasn't. I mean, it was, but at the same time, the way that they deviated from the original storyline, but they did it in a way that was classy and made sense for the show.
Mm-hmm.
And I really enjoyed that. And I'm excited to see what they do with the second season, because if you've played the games, you already know, like, early on in the second game, a fan favorite dies.
Yes.
So I'm excited to see what they do with that, but also sort of kind of terrified.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but I think that's all we had time for today.
Oh yeah, nothing else?
No, that's all I had.
Well, you're the boss.
Unless you had something to add.
Not really, not currently. I mean, yeah,
Okay.
well, yeah, that's all we had time for today. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
So anyways, be sure to give us a follow, leave a review. You can always find us on most social media platforms. You can find us anywhere podcasts are heard. And you can also find us at our website, www.andimadehimwatch.com, for all your fantastic And I Made Him Watch needs.
Yes.
So from us here, And I Made Him Watch, stay spooky.
Bye.